Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Monday. It is 11 something, and I'm Ryan. This is KRISTIN, and this is Passing Notes. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about other people's money and how that relates into note investing. Other people's money is a staple in the real estate investing world, but probably not too often thought about in the note world, because I think the note investing world is like you already have to be wealthy to be able to do that.
And in some respects, that's true. I mean, you do have to have some type of cash to do it, but that's true with any other people's money.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, why do you use it? And people, I argue this, especially with like a lot of old school investors, where they're like, oh, I don't want to use, I've got cash for this, and they're going to charge me some ridiculous amount in fees. And I'm like, well, yeah, but you can never grow. And yeah, you can do one deal. Great. I'm going to do one deal a year, or I'm going to do one deal every other year.
Mm-hmm.
And you can grow so much faster if you leverage everything that you're working on.
Right. Yeah, and when it comes to that, I think it's a little bit, in my mind, when it comes to other people's money in the note world, it's a little bit easier. And again, this is coming from somebody who doesn't have experience in the note world for other people's money. But when there's a house, when there's a flip, when there's a tangible thing like a property, hey, can I borrow your money to fix up this house and then there will be a profit, versus here's a piece of paper, can I borrow your money, and who knows?
Right. But that's exactly right. I mean, and that's the hardest part, is educating investors to go, yes, you can make, you can lend money on a piece of paper that's collateralized by a house, and you still have the same security that you would. Going on right now, and I'm sure, not everybody out there is watching what the U.S. bond market is doing,
Mm-hmm.
but interest rates are projected probably for the next 5 to 10 years to stay at 0% or even go negative.
So from an investor standpoint, zero or negative is not a fun.
Well, no. So,
outcome.
I mean, you're going to be earning half a percentage point or maybe 1% from a government bond. Whereas, so you're going to have a lot of investors who are going, well, I want a higher rate of return. How do I get that? And investing in mortgage notes, that might have a 9 or 10% interest rate are great on that. But what if you don't have a ton of money? Can you leverage and go do that?
So how would that work in terms of other people's money? Because yeah, I understand in the current market, if they can get 1 or 2%, they're making a killing. But if your whole thing is trying to make 6 or 8%, are you just offering them, okay, well, I'll offer you 4%?
All right. So let's say that I have the opportunity to go purchase, say, this 10% note. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Any random note.
Purchase
And this
a 10%
one,
note.
right? And this one's a performing mortgage note. Performing mortgage note. Let's say that it's
at 10%.
At 10%, and it's $100,000. But I don't have $100,000 to go buy this thing.
Okay.
Even though I want to own it and I want to profit off of it. So it's at 10%. We know right now that investors can get 1 or 2 on the open market.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking for, just as you said, 6. A lot of investors right now want 6%. That's what they're looking for. So you can go in and go to an investor and say, yeah, so I've got this note. It's $100,000. It'll return you monthly in cash flow 6%.
Oh, I see what you're doing. I was thinking in terms of just full out buy it. You're saying, hey, cover the whole thing, and then I'll take a piece of the pie.
And typically I take about 2% off the top, if I go do that.
Because you're getting them, obviously we don't have a whiteboard or anything to do the math, but if you're buying at 10% and then you're selling to them at 6%, you're keeping the 4%.
You're keeping the 4 above it.
Got it.
Which is great. And it still works down like an amortization table. So to give...
So it's almost like a cash flowing wholesale type thing.
Kind of, yes. Where they actually get to keep it. And you can...
You know what talking to you makes me feel? It makes me feel really smart and educated, like I know something.
But you know what I love by your face? You were just like, holy crap, can you really do this?
I don't know what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, no. But seriously, it's, and people are like, well, Yeah, but you're only making 2% or 4%. How much is that? It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go in and I just do it off, let's say, you're able to do 10 $100,000 notes of this. At 2%, over 30 years, $1 million, right? 10 $100,000 notes. That's $3,696 a month with none of your money out of pocket.
With what you did was you found the deal and you found a buyer.
Yeah, you found an investor.
And then you're cash flowing $3,600 a month.
Yeah.
It's not
Now,
bad.
granted, I mean, that's doing 10 deals, but
Right.
you're not out of pocket any money.
But the thing is, though, you do one of those a month for the next 5 years.
Oh, yeah, you're doing very, very well. I mean, at 4%, that's $4,700. So if we just keep the 2%, which is typically what I go for, so if I find something with 10%, I will offer the investor 8, which is even better than the 6 that most investors out there are looking for right now. Yeah, you get that up to $5 million. What does that look like? That's basically $18,000 a month.
So basically what I'm hearing is if you spent the next 5 years and you really ground it out and you did a deal a month, and say you take November, December off for holidays, so you do 10 a year for the next 5 years, with this model, you could potentially, in 5 years' time, be cash flowing $18,000 a month for the next 25 to 30 years.
Yeah, however long that lasts. And of course, these things are going to refinance and pay off, and you're going to have to redeploy capital, go do it again.
Right.
But yeah, you hit $5 million, and you're only making 2% on it. That top 2%, you're going to be cash flowing $18,000 a month. And it's crazy. And it's with none of your money. It's just you pounding the pavement, finding the deal,
right,
networking with investors that are looking for this stuff.
And what's great about that is the people that you're dealing with is all paper related type people. Because you're not the one that's ever going to be having to mess with the home ownership. You're never going to be doing anything with the house itself. You're not having to go into a house with cat piss and negotiate with a seller. The only people you're dealing with are the bankers, if you're buying these notes, or other investors that you're buying the notes from.
Yeah, in this example that I just gave you, because it's set, this is with a performing mortgage. Can you do it with non-performing? Absolutely. So, and with the non-performing, you're going to go in and say, okay, we're going to modify it. It's a little trickier with investors for that, but what they do like about it is maybe it only costs them, $30,000 to pick up that $100,000 note.
Right.
And so they're actually getting a much higher rate of return than even 6 or 8%.
Well, that's why I like to say, like, real estate investing, whether you're in the houses or the note business, it's very wild, wild west, because
it's creative.
You can get creative, and the more creative you can get and the more you can mix strategies, the better off you'll be and the more profitable you'll be.
Correct.
Because again, if you're a one-trick pony going in to do a deal, whether it be a single family, a multifamily, a note, or whatever, and you're limited to that one strategy, and then you get someone like KRISTIN coming in going, hey, or we could do X, Y, Z plus 1, 2, 3, and let's throw some sugar on top. There's no way the one-trick pony could even compete.
No, and that's kind of how I fell into non-performing notes, because they were coming across my desk, and I was like, it's not performing, and I would just be like, toss that in the trash, and then I was like, well, I really should figure out what to do with these.
Right.
And then you buy a couple, and you're like, these are awesome.
Yeah,
get even better returns than.
Well, I mean, and what's funny is because I'm hearing all this and I'm talking, but I'm also remembering old deals with back in the day where actually Mac bought a property from Tim years ago. It was on Grovecrest. And I still remember that.
Grovecrest.
Because it was.
I love how you remember that name.
It was the first note deal I ever did. And it was because one of the things is like, oh, by the way, it'll have like a year bubble. Like in a year's time, instead of doing the percentages, I want a $2,000 bubble. And it was like not a bubble, balloon.
Balloon, yeah.
I don't know why I say bubble. Bubble's not a balloon. You know what I mean.
So Tim bought this from Mac?
No, Tim sold to Mac.
Tim sold to Mac.
With
okay.
with like a $2,000 balloon.
Okay.
because instead of paying me $100 a month for the next year or so,
Yeah.
because he did exactly what you're talking about, where there was like a one, or I think he kept 2% on it.
Yeah.
But he just said, screw it, let's just give me a balloon payment on it. So he took an upfront fee and a balloon fee.
Nice. But I mean, you can set it up any way you like.
Get creative.
I personally am a cash flow investor,
Yeah.
right? I want my monthly cash flow.
You know what you need to do?
I would.
You need to brand yourself Cash Flow Queen. You know my position on those.
on those names? You mean like the Duke of
The Duke of LinkedIn. Yeah.
Every time I see it, I giggle. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's me, baby.
Ryan Sharper.
Ryan S. Harper.
Duke
So,
of LinkedIn.
what is, other than just knowing the original concept, let's talk about how do you approach people, like potential investors, to get their money? Like, how do you, because again, it's a different
hard.
concept.
That is really hard in the beginning, because how do you find these people? So you are constantly networking. Right now it's nice because I've been doing this for a while, so they find me.
Right.
But when I was getting started, the first ones, I would tell people what I was doing. Everyone. And I tell people too, when you're networking, this is going to be off topic tip, but great that you're networking at these real estate investor places. Awesome. Good. You need to do that, right? You need to learn from your peers on what everybody else is doing and how that works. But is that really the best place to find investors? Absolutely not. Take what you have an interest in. What are you interested in? Anything. It could be hang gliding. It could be, another sport. Maybe it's your softball team. And you tell those people what you're doing. And go to those networking events, because there's not a lot of real estate people there, and they might be looking for real estate to invest in. They're like, you know what? I always wanted to do that. I have money, but I don't have time because I've got my other job. What can you offer?
Well, giving away the kitchen sink, like some of your secret sauce, is one of the things I know you like to do is you love the galas. And you love like the $1,000 plate type dinners.
Yes.
And you love going to those. But at the same time, you love going there not just because it's fancy and fun and you get to dress up, but if you're paying $1,000, well, guess what the person you're sitting next to is doing? They're paying
$1,000.
So therefore, they got to have money. So why not go to those things and look at them as networking opportunities versus, hey, it's a Saturday night and I get to dress up in my ball gown.
Kaylee McMahon started doing that. Like, this was a couple years ago, and I was
You and last names.
What?
McMahon.
It looks like multiple syllables. It doesn't matter. Okay, yeah. I can't read.
It's okay.
I can't read.
It's okay.
Anyways, so Kaylee was following me around at all of those parties, and then I was at some VIP pre-party for one thing, for the Turtle Creek Derby, the Turtle Creek Conservatory Kentucky Derby party, and she was like, is this a good thing to go to? And I'm like, yeah, you've just got a bunch of very high net worth individuals all going here, having a fancy party, you get to dress up. And she was there.
Right.
It was awesome. I'm like, so cool that
I'm sure she looked amazing as well.
She always does.
I know.
So anyways, yes, those galas I do. I love going to the galas.
Yeah.
And you've been at some with me, and
I'm
like, that's what I'm doing. I'm picking up clients.
So Ian is not, and we don't need to have a whole conversation about how to convert somebody into an investor for you. But what are some of the differences of like
between real estate, actual real property, and notes?
Correct. In that conversation, because again, there's plenty of videos that I've done, that you've done, that we've all done about how to talk to somebody about, hey, this is what good percentage on your money, do it over here. But
the number one thing I tell people is have an attorney that you work with in your back pocket that's ready to answer questions for any of them, because more often than not, they don't have a real estate attorney, or their regular
attorney.
attorney.
Super expensive. Or if they're in their back pocket, they're doing
well,
pro
a lot of
bono.
times, like I've got, my main real estate attorney, and she's happy to answer questions because she knows that that's going to bring her more business.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you need to know when I say back pocket, you've got to ask them first.
Right.
And go, hey, I'm talking to people about
And you're not sending
investing.
everybody.
No, absolutely not. And hey, I'm talking to people about investing in mortgage notes. Would you mind answering questions for them if they have it? What I find is if they go talk, a lot of them will Google.
Right.
Will Google attorney, and then they'll call them up, and that attorney won't have any clue.
But there's
how
also
to
no
invest in
incentive to
notes.
talk to them as either, because they're not getting paid. Either if they're talking
Correct.
to some of you,
Yeah.
they know they're going to get paid.
Right.
Because I think that's a big mistake early investors do, especially wholesaling, is because one of the lessons they learn is, oh, I'll get a contractor and they can walk the property for me and they'll give me a quote. And they'll do that for about 2 or 3 times until they realize, you're not giving me any business. Why the hell am I doing this anymore? So if you're going to have people do solids for you like that, make sure they're getting business from you, whether it be through referrals or through, hey, you talked to that guy and now that guy is a client, or you're just giving so much business that they'll do anything to keep you happy.
So and that's important on anything. I have realtors who come to me and they're like, oh, I want your business and I will do it at a reduced fee. I have recently, just on one that I'm working on now, I agreed to it. And then I've already texted her. I text her, this weekend, and I'm like, can you send me an adjustment to your fee? Because I'm going to give you the full price, because this has gone on a lot longer than expected. Yes, you're not driving to the property, but still, you've negotiated. It's like the third time you've negotiated this thing.
At the end of the day, not all relationships have to be monetizable, but they have to be mutually beneficial. So if a relationship is so one-sided,
it's also not
it gets old.
Not monetizable. We all work for money.
Right.
And if you are going, you have to work for me for less than what you usually do, that's saying you don't respect my time as much.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know anybody who would work like that for a long period of time, be disrespected, make less, and then you're expecting them to put out their top performance for you.
Yeah.
All of that is, you don't respect me and you want me to do that.
And that's a little off topic, but it's still on topic, because I think that's still a good nugget.
Professionals.
Yeah, because the going back to the thing about you're saying is like, have somebody in your back pocket that can answer those questions, because you're talking about notes and real estate and you're talking about money. They're used to sending money to a hedge fund or sending money in a financial planner, and they do everything for them. And in a lot of ways, there's similarities, but at the same time, it's like, it's totally different at the same time.
It is totally different. And you cannot just have them going, hey, I'm going to go seek legal counsel, and going to anybody. Have a couple names for them to talk to. Because if you don't, they're just going to go ask the wrong questions to somebody who's going, wait, you don't get first lien deed of trust? Mm-hmm. You don't get direct access to that, to the collateral. And once you do that, then they're like, oh, it's a scam. So that's the number one thing. I always say, make sure and have somebody that they can go talk to.
So at the end of the day, the main concept I think that you're trying to strike home is, hey, yes, you can go buy a note for 10%, you can make 10%, but you're locking up all your money. Why not find somebody you can partner with, and it's not even a partnership, because they still own it.
They're untitled.
So are you like a second lien? Is that what that is?
No.
Or how is that?
Well,
how
because,
is that structured?
All right, so you've got the deed of trust and note are created, or the mortgage, depending on what state you're in, and those are assigned to you or to myself at, say, 4%. And then the investor who's actually putting up the capital is getting 6% for it.
So who has first lien?
You both do. It's no different than being 40-60 ownership on, say, a piece of property.
So it is.
So when you go to tax rolls and you see, 40-60, can you have 10 lenders on one loan?
So
sure.
do they know that you're also still in the deal?
They have to, yeah.
Okay. So that's,
and I disclose all of that. There's no reason not to.
Right.
And I also stay as the one that, because oftentimes it's not one guy with me, it's 4 or 5. So I'm probably will even have the senior interest in it. I might
So it's
own-
almost like syndicating notes,
It is.
or it is syndicating
It
notes.
is syndicating notes, but I mean, you can do it with one person or 10 or 20.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no, I mean, there's no rhyme or reason or rules to it. If you find, you know, it's $100,000 to buy this thing, and you find 5 people that each have $20,000,
Mm-hmm.
you can buy that and you can keep the top 2 or 4% or however many percent you want to keep.
Right.
And again, the end result is the same. You're still making
So,
2% on the deal.
and on top of that, I guess the real question is, well, how do you do that?
Like the paperwork involved,
Sure.
that's called hiring an attorney.
Yeah.
You don't, I mean, you as the investor don't need to know how that, I mean, the actual legal document that makes it work. You don't need to know how to do that. That's hiring an attorney. Do you need to know how to service it? No, that's hiring a loan servicer.
I think that's another mistake a lot of investors make, is thinking they need to know everything
Yeah.
or anything.
So you need to know enough about the topics, right? And you need to know what's possible, and you need to know what you want to achieve.
Right.
But as far as all of the legal intricacies, no, I leave that to my attorney.
So, final thoughts on this topic?
On this topic, for different ways that we can use other people's money to buy notes.
Yeah, like other people's money in the note investing world.
All right, other people's money needs to be used in any type of investment.
Mm-hmm.
I borrow money on everything. I don't care what it is. I don't care if I've got a couple $100,000 cash in the bank. I borrow money to do whatever I'm going to do in real estate. The reason for that is just your return on investment.
So basically, it's like, I think there should be a meme where it's like, leverage everything.
It's not so much leverage everything. The great thing with like that one that we just talked about, where you're making 2% and your investor is making 6%, that's the structure of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not actually leveraged.
Right.
If that borrower stops paying money, you don't have to come up with any underlying debt to pay. It's not like you're paying a hard money lender.
But and I guess if y'all foreclose, like, is the person that has the majority stake, they pretty much run the deal?
A lot of times, even though I'm getting 2%,
You're the expert.
I'm the expert, so I'm staying there. You know, Capricorn Mortgage is vertically integrated, so I have all of these team members already in place.
Your sales pitch is like, yes, you're getting the majority of the percentage, and I'm taking a minor stake in it, but I will still manage the deal
if it goes south or at all. Yeah,
and if you want, we could even use my not mine, but my go-to servicer.
Oh no, we have to use that. That's required.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm not going to mess around with different servicers.
Basically,
Basically, I pick all the rules, and they say this is how the deal runs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want a piece of it? And if something goes bad, yeah, I step in. I either foreclose, get cash for keys, and then resell it. Sometimes owner finance. Sometimes we sell it cash.
What if one of your other people, just to go with other people's money, what if they're like, hey, KRISTIN, I need to get out. I need to get my money back out of this deal.
I actually had that.
You're like, okay.
I had that recently, this month.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no problem. I get first chance to buy it. I have and they know that. And I've had a couple of the other members go, I'd like to buy it. I ended up buying out the percentage. Just because, I mean, I'm like, no, I'll take a higher percentage on this. It's not a big deal. So depending on what it is, if I don't want to do it, like at that moment, do I want to deploy that capital for whatever reason? I'll ask the other note holders, hey, does anybody else want this? Again, they might want half of it. All right, well, I'll take the other half.
Right.
You know, again, there are no rules for that. You just have to have a good attorney to be able to paper it correctly. And then get it, you know, and then re-divided with your note servicer.
Say, can any of this make sense to you?
A smidgen.
Smidgen.
A
What about you,
smidgen.
Daisy?
No.
Not at all. Well, keep watching Passing Notes to get
I know,
more information.
Exactly. You said
Real quick before we end this show for the day, passingnotesgroup.com is what?
Is that where they go and learn about how to sign up for the group and get
sound
really
like you're
in-depth?
surprised.
I know. I'm like, is it up and running?
It's been up and running.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, so passingnotesgroup.com. So if you're if you're looking to find a members only mastermind group where you can come together learn all because like right now this is more of a conversation, a dialogue, but we have over 30 different courses already lined, not courses, but segments already lined up, and we're updating by at least 1 to 2 every single week where we're adding more and more videos to that lineup. So we meet in person. Corona makes that weird, so the timing on that is different. But assuming there was no Corona, it'd be at least quarterly. You have access to KRISTIN, you have access to me, and then we meet on via Zoom. So that's what makes us a little bit different than most people. Is we record the videos live with our members watching on Zoom. So then after we're done recording the presentation, they can immediately ask questions.
Yes, and it's like a group thing, but the goal of the group is not to just get some knowledge and then leave the group. The goal is for us to have this consortium of really successful millionaire note investors where we can all buy as a group with all of these non-performing notes that I get access to. Group members get first access to those.
Mm-hmm.
And we can also have people to JV with, to sell the notes that we're bringing to the, that the other group members bring in, because it's not just, hey, what's KRISTIN got? It's how does KRISTIN get these in the first place? And how do I get it myself so that you have direct access to banks?
Teamwork makes the dream work.
It really is. And I think that that's where a lot of things go wrong. There's no, future plan with these mentoring things. And we talk about all sorts of things. It doesn't, yes, notes are the primary, or owner financing, or subject to, or anything dealing with mortgage notes, or how to originate them, how to get them reperforming, how to buy them.
At the end of the day, yes, the group is about note investing, but if you're asking questions about Airbnbs or fix and flips or wholesaling, or hey, how do I run an event, or media stuff, or whatever,
what's your tile guy's name and number? I mean, I get that question from group members.
Right.
Who are you using for your subs? Because they know that I'm actually out there actively remodeling properties.
Right.
So I've got all these contractors, and you get access to all that.
So basically, it's a community of investors for note investing primarily, but it can dabble in other regions. So,
always does.
So anyway, make sure you subscribe to the video, to the channel, to YouTube. Go to youtube.com/passingnotes if you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatnot. We do this every Monday and Wednesday currently, maybe Mondays, maybe Wednesdays. Who knows? We'll figure it out. Sometimes at 10:30, sometimes at 11, sometimes at 11:15.
Because I'm awesome and I'm late and...
Well, you're busy. People are busy. Investing is a busy business.
I would literally tell you that, I would just need to be less busy.
Exactly. So anyway, I'm Ryan. Follow me, Ryan S. Harper. KRISTIN.
KRISTIN GERST, Capricorn Mortgage. Follow me at KRISTIN GERST on Instagram.
And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.